The man was born with tremendous strength. With just a light punch, he could send a 200-pound person flying, but he deliberately disguised himself, making everyone believe he was useless. And all of this was actually because of the stepmother his father married. 10 years ago, the man's mother had just passed away, and his father brought the stepmother home. She also brought a boy who was only a year younger than the man. At that time, the stepmother treated him very well. Just when the man was about to see her as his real mother, he accidentally overheard a conversation between her and the younger boy. Only then did he learn that his mother had been killed by the stepmother. The reason they kept him alive was to let him become a spoiled wastrel, because only then could the stepmother's son inherit the duke's title. To avenge his mother, the man began hiding his abilities from then on, pretending to be worthless in front of everyone. Until one day, the king went out in disguise and saw some foreigners staying in the kingdom bullying the local citizens. The king wanted his knights to step in and teach them a lesson, but he didn't notice the man downstairs. Using just a few drops of water, the man knocked the foreigners to the ground. By the time the knights arrived, they saw only the unconscious foreigners and the man's strange expression. This made the knights begin to suspect that the man had been faking his uselessness, so they reported the matter to the king. After hearing this, the king was immediately shocked. He thought about how he had been worried about the princess's marriage, afraid his daughter couldn't find a strong husband to become the next monarch. So he decided to hold a martial arts competition to choose a husband for the princess. But because he didn't restrict who could enter, people from other nations also signed up, and the noble's descendants were no match for the foreigners. That's why he left the palace to search for a true master, and unexpectedly, he actually found one. To confirm the knight's suspicions, the king immediately decided to have a knight pose as an assassin to test the man's abilities. So that very night, the knight dressed in black entered the man's room and deliberately made noise to get the man's attention. But the man said it was just a servant making noise. So the knight had no choice but to knock out the nearby servant and personally start massaging the man. But to his surprise, the man didn't notice anything. To completely provoke him, the knight took the keepsake left by the man's mother. Just when he thought the man wouldn't follow him, the next second, a white figure flashed and appeared right in front of him. This instantly startled him. But what shocked him even more was that the man's martial arts were stronger than his. In less than 10 minutes, the knight was defeated by the man. After confirming the man's strength, the knight immediately decided to leave and report the results to the king. After hearing the knight's report, the king immediately gave the order for the man to join the next day's husband selection tournament. Although the man's father didn't believe in his abilities, the king had already given the order, so he had no choice but to hastily teach his son martial arts. Little did he know, with the man's true skills, even 10 experts wouldn't stand a chance against him. Soon, the day of the competition arrived. Looking at the foreigners on the stage, the man could tell at a glance that the noble's descendants present were no match for him, and the gold and jewels the king offered were not what he wanted. He wanted real power. But becoming the princess's husband would mean that from then on, he'd have no chance of gaining power. The king, unaware of this, watched one noble after another get knocked off the platform and couldn't help growing anxious. So he asked the knight why the man still wasn't making a move. Just as the knight didn't know how to answer, he suddenly remembered the results of his investigation and used them as leverage to make the king grant the man power. Sure enough, after hearing this, the king immediately granted the man command of the army. And when the man heard the king's decision, he immediately stepped forward and said he was willing to give it a try. Then, under the mocking gazes of the crowd, he walked onto the platform.